Oh, hello. Welcome to another Tabletop Impulse video. It's been a little while. Things got a bit crazy last week with getting ready to go to the Wild World Kilting Tournament, which was all last weekend, but I'm back now, back on schedule with your Thursday video. So there was a lot of news from official and unofficial sources that dropped yesterday on Wednesday, quite late in the day. So, you know, as a way of making amends for my previous lack of videos, rather than split this one up into two separate videos, I'm going to give you a double helping. Cheers. So we're going to look at the Beta Decima approved ops rules, and then we're also going to look at the end of the video at some new kill team rumours as well that are out there, so stick around for that. So, Killzone Beta Decima, there are two downloads that have gone up. The first one we cover off really quickly. The Killzone Beta Decima download with this icon there that you can see on the screen is simply a reproduction of pages 68, 69 and 71 from the Salvation book. So, you may be wondering what's on page 70. Page 70 is the narrative terrain rules for the sprue that comes in the Salvation box. So this gives you the 3 pages of rules that you need to play with the Beta Decima terrain that comes in the Beta Decima box. Because, of course, the Beta Decima box comes with no rules itself. Alright, so there's nothing new here. If you want new stuff, we have to instead look here. So, the Approved Ops 2023 Hazardous Environments PDF, which is found here. This document, so I've taken a couple of extracts from it to explain what it is. Approved Ops 2023 Hazardous Areas. This document explains how you can use the Approved Ops, TAC Ops and Mission Card Pack in a battle that uses the Hazardous Areas rules. When determining mission and map, use the pack's missions, loot, secure and capture as normal, but one of the 6 new map layouts in this document instead. We intend for these maps to use Killzone Beta Decima only, but players or tournament organisers can use Killzone supplements, e.g. Killzone Salvation, and or Beta Decima objective markers if they wish. Now, I've cut out the bit about Beta Decima objective markers. We'll talk about those on the next slide. Operatives cross the gap between different gantries, i.e. ones that aren't connected, by jumping. See the Kill Team core book. Yellow lines on the mission map indicate the terrain features where operatives can do this to and from when setting up the kill zone. Ensure the related gantries are an appropriate distance from each other so operatives can jump. Right, so jumping is still in. I know a lot of the big TOs out there were hoping that it would be changed or removed for the competitive version of the game because, you know, it's pretty arguable that jumping, I think I've covered this before, it's pretty arguable that jumping is a non-competitive mechanic. A lot of the really competitive players don't like the idea that if you could roll a 1 and then you're out of position and then you get shot and that could lose you the game and that's a feels bad. Is it, or is it just funny? Is it something you should plan for? Like, I don't know where I sit on that line. I can see the arguments on both sides, but rules is written in. If you want to use Games Workshop's pack and not house rule it, then jumping is very much part of the game. But talking about using Games Workshop's pack, let's just ask ourselves the question of what these Beta Decima objective markers are. So, I'm just going to reread something I already read. We intend for these maps to use Killzone Beta Decima only, but players or tournament organisers could use the Killzone supplements, e.g. Killzone Salvation, or the Beta Decima objective markers if they wish. So, that paragraph is a bit garbled, but I read that to my understanding, right, that means that the maps that we're going to go through in a minute are designed to use this. The core Beta Decima terrain, which does not include the I know the objective markers are in the box, right? But as far as I can tell, they only mean for you to use the terrain as it's described in here, right? So they realise that they've put these models in the box and they better give you rules for them, but I don't think they're supposed to be a core part of the experience. So I don't think that most TOs are going to use them. I don't think they're generally going to see play. I see a lot of people fixating on because the rule, we'll look at the rules in a second, they are weird. I see a lot of people fixating on the objective markers and how they're going to work and how it's going to interact with things. I don't think that they're going to see the table in competitive games. I don't think you should necessarily... I don't think they really add anything. They add a little bit of visual interest, but for me, if I don't need to use them in games as gaming pieces, I'll definitely use them as little bits of decoration, scenic basing, display bases, things like that. I don't feel that they're going to be an integral gaming piece, but we shall see how it shakes out. If the independent tournaments all start using them, then things will be a bit different. So let's read the rule. A better decimate objective marker is an objective marker as normal, but it's also a terrain feature with the light and traversable traits. Part of it, no more than black tall, e.g. its base and hatch but not its aerial, also have the vantage point trait. Unlike normal traversable terrain, this means operatives can finish a move on top of such parts as long as you can physically be placed there. Okay? Kind of nothingy, although it does provide light cover on a board where there's very little cover, apart from your barricades that you can place on the vantage points. But on a board where there's otherwise very little cover, it does provide some elements of light cover, I guess. But like I said, I don't think it's a core part of what the game is supposed to be about. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, especially if you happen to be a TO, you happen to watch my videos. Do we need to use these? Are these a thing? Should we be playing our practice games with these and getting used to them? Or they seem pretty ignorable to me. Let me know. What's not ignorable is what's going on with secondaries. So there's been some tweaks to secondaries. For the PAX rules, the following changes are in effect. Plant transponder recon, when determining if an operative is more than circle for terrain features, ignore gantries underneath it and the ferrotonic furnace if it's on the features terrain roof. So you can plant your transponder while you're on a piece of terrain. Secure vantage, at least half the vantage point you control must be in your opponent's territory. Secure center line, you can be on a vantage point. And central control is replaced with ferrotonic furnace control. So instead of doing controlling the center of the board, which might well be underwater, you control the ferrotonic furnace wherever that may be. It's always on the center line in the map pack, but sometimes it's skewed off to one flank or the other. What I find quite interesting is if you're using security and you go for central control or ferrotonic furnace control as it's now called, and you also could go for seized ground, declaring the ferrotonic furnace. You could make your game really all about the ferrotonic furnace, if that's what you wanted to do. And you could also take secure center line and just be like, I'm going to stand on the ferrotonic furnace. This is my house. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad, but it's a thing you could do with your life. Let's go through the maps. So we've got the very familiar things in the left-hand side for the maps, and then they've also talked about the purple being for hazardous areas, the A is the short gantries, B is the medium gantries, C is the long gantries, and D, of course, is the ferrotonic furnace. I'm really pleased that we have fixed map layout. I think that's a really good thing. Saves us having to make our own sort of community map packs, because maps, I think in general, are the way forwards rather than just letting people do what they want, because it's very easy to make a bad board. It's weird to me that we've only got 6 layouts rather than 9. I imagine people that play a lot of Kill Team might kind of get bored of these 6 layouts quite quickly, but we shall see. So the first one we've got for you is Factorum. So it's long table edges. It's using the side of the map. So one of the things to really explain to you is that the map for Better Decima is double-sided. On one side it has a printed safe area in the middle here. So where you see this version with the purple with the circular gap in the middle, it's using the side of the map with the printed safe area. Okay, you can see where terrain has been placed down. Okay, the map it's not quite symmetrical, right? So there's long C down here, whereas there's short B leaning onto long C here, but it's fairly symmetrical. It's got a slightly asymmetrical vibe, so maybe you've got a reason to pick one side over the other. Maybe the red side, I think, probably has a very slight advantage in terms of the ability to access the other side with a minimal number, over the middle with fewer Jump tests, because you can climb straight up onto C here, jump onto this A, and then jump across, whereas here you have to climb up on here, and then jump, and then do a third jump. So maybe there's a slight advantage to the red side, but I'm given to understand that maps that are basically symmetrical with a slight advantage to one side are what you want. The objective placement is pretty well symmetrical as well, which is great. Yeah, I think this looks like an okay map. I can't see a massive problem with it, right? Obviously, I've never played this version of the game. I'm itching to. I think it's going to be great fun. Here is the Engineerum. Okay, so it's less symmetrical. These are on a slight shift from each other, but I actually can't quite. I mean, I think that this offers an advantage to blue because it's going to be easier for the blue side to hold this objective. Am I being too reductive? But it's just one jump test, climb and jump, and you can get up there to that one. Whereas from red side, you're going to need to make 2 jump tests, or in fact come around this way and climb up directly, right? But yeah, that seems that objective there seems to be like where all the there's going to be a bit of play there, and then a lot of the game's going to centre around this, where I think there's 3 objectives on a big solid terrain piece. I see a lot of fighting, a lot of player place barricades, a lot of things going on here as well. Looks like an interesting map. Yeah. I realise I'm probably not adding that much value to this because I'm not an elite game winner, as it were, but I think it looks interesting. This is obviously on the version with the solid pool in the middle. Now we're back to the version with the red island in the middle, and this one is interesting because it's how lopsided it is, right? So we've got 3 objectives on the centre line in the middle, that's fine. 1 objective on the left flank, but 2 objectives on the right flank. So that's going to lead to a kind of an asymmetric little tussle there, right? Like as to who's going to get what objective. I think, I don't know, like who does this map give an advantage to? I guess because there are the same number. Even though the map is the objectives aren't symmetrical, like there's the same number of objectives in each table, in each territory, right? There's 2 on the centre line and there's 2 in each territory. It's just the slightly congested nature of them. I guess you'd probably rather play as blue, right? Because then you could contest both those objectives on the right hand side quite easily. I don't know, but yeah, another interesting map. I think they have only managed to do 6, but I'm actually quite impressed they got quite so much variety out of such a limited number of terrain pieces. So the first 3 were all long edges, okay, and now we're on to short edges. Is that what's happening? Yeah, that's what's happened. So now we're on to short edges, which is interesting. So with short edges, you get the entire short edge kind of shore, I guess, or the as a place where that you can stand. Yeah, so a pretty well symmetrical map. I think there's a slight mobility advantage to being blue. Is that what I think? All your things on this side are more clustered, right? Whereas as red, I don't know though. There's an advantage to having the objective nearer you be the one that's a bit further away from the main action. If you're happy to have a guy that kind of tries to camp here and forces the blues to come over to it, whereas blues things are more sort of clustered in one corner. It'd be really interesting to play these. I think I'm really looking, even if it turns out to not actually be that good in the fullness of time, I'm really looking forward to the way these will mix up games of Kill Team, right? The Forge, again, short table edges. And again, it's another map where it's kind of symmetrical, but not quite, right? I think I'm very hard pressed to say which side of that is better. Yeah, they are starting to look pretty similar now, aren't they? And then the last one is a short table edges with the island thing in the middle. Interesting to note then that there are no... I much prefer the blue side on this one, just because you've got everything's connected together. And it feels like they wanted to make a symmetrical map and they didn't have enough parts. Right? It feels like they wanted to make a symmetrical map and they were just like, oh, we don't have enough parts. Red side can just have a short one instead of a longer one. But maybe that's just me being a bit cynical. Okay? No corner deployments, which is brilliant because they wouldn't really work. Me and Zimbad said that at the time. Like, if you had a corner off there, you'd lose so much of it to the hazardous environment. You're not really going to place your models. So, really eager to play these. Really eager to get my better Decima stuff built, if not fully painted. And yeah, it's great that we have these maps. It's just making people aware of them. So, I know why you're really here for the rumours. So, I'm tacking this on at the end, but Mr. Valrak has basically come out and said he thinks he knows what box number 3 is going to be. So remember, he thinks box number 2 is going to be the Night Lords that we've seen versus Mandrakes. Everybody kind of believes that now. We now are hearing that box number 3 is apparently going to be dismounted Hernkin Pioneers. So that's the Votans on the bicycles. Dismounted. Now, for my money, they will look cooler than the old Votans because they have the cool kind of... lamb's wool, like sheepskin coats and stuff, right? That's pretty cool. Versus Brood Brothers. Now, Valrak didn't use the term Brood Brothers, but he pretty well described Brood Brothers on the nose. He said it would be a Cadian-based team with the new Cadian squad, and then a Genestealer cult-based upgrade sprue to turn them into Brood Brothers. Though we've seen Brood Brothers before... in 40k, it's just an Imperial Guard squad with some weird heads. I'm sure they're going to give it some more little bits and pieces in terms of Genestealer weapons and Genestealer equipments and melee weapons compared to the old Brood Brothers kit, which is more limited. Whoever said this was going to appeal to Tyranid players, I think was taking the mick a little bit, right? Because... if anything, if this is what they're doing, this is going to end up being, isn't it? This is going to end up being yet another human team, with a Genestealer twist on it, right? This is going to end up being a human team with special weapons and bits and pieces, and then maybe one of the guys will have like a Genestealer arm. I'll be a bit better in combat. Like, I think it will actually be quite cool. And of the two teams in the box, it's the one that I might want to get, right? But notably, I don't like Tyranids. I feel like, whoever had that rumour of, or that thought of, this will satisfy Tyranid players, had it totally... I can't think of anything they would find less satisfying, than a new Brood Brothers squad. This is just going to be a human team, isn't it? Surely, but with a slightly kind of Tyranidy twist on it. So I'm just going to look at I'm looking at the Cadians, and I'm trying to. So you buy a box of Cadian shock troopers at the moment. Like, what do you actually get? You get a com link, so you're going to get comms. You get special weapons. Let's see. A sergeant with either a drum-fed autogun or a chainsword with a las pistol or bolt pistol. So a drum-fed autogun or a chainsaw with a las pistol or bolt pistol. And then you also get a flamer, a grenade launcher, a melter gun, a plasma gun, and a Vox. Great. So it's a team that's going to have a comms, it's going to have 2 gunners, potentially 3 gunners, right? Flamer, grenade launcher, melter gun, plasma gun. So you're getting a plasma gun and a melter gun, and potentially the grenade launcher as well, right? And then... and then some las guns, and then whatever they want to add in terms of their upgrade kit. Like, I'm sure they'll add some Tyranid stuff, so you'd expect to see like one of them nice. I could see them getting a nice Tyranidy, like that nice power sword looking thing, maybe for the leader, or a couple of extra arms on there, things like that. Maybe a Psyker, maybe they give you like a cult Magos in there as one of the things. I mean, they have put before entire models on the upgrade sprue, or very close to entire models. So, but I'm fearful. I'm fearful that it's going to be just another human shooting team with the comms and a couple of gunners and stuff like that. And the Gene Steelery cult flavour, I don't know. I need to see it. I need to see it to decide. This could be a box that I skip, right? Because Mrs. T.I. doesn't care. Neither of us care about Votan, really. I would just be kind of waiting to see what the G Steeler cult, I'm calling it Brew Brothers. I didn't use the term Brew Brothers, but the Brew Brothers kill team actually looks like. Let me know what you think of that down below. You might be really excited for Brew Brothers as a concept. Like, they were a plastic upgrade sprue for the Cadians for a long time, and there were people out there that had whole armies of Brew Brothers, and I guess Games Workshop is hoping that some of those people that had whole armies of Brew Brothers last time or have seen the new Cadians and want to rebuy their entire infantry army of Brew Brothers. Don't know. Interesting one. Interesting one. Let me know your thoughts on it down below. But yeah, as for me, potentially a bit of a miss. So, also let me know what you thought of the competitive pack, right? What do you think of the maps? Especially if you're a better player than me. Not a difficult one, but if you are a better player than me, like, what did you think of the various maps? Let me know. Some people obviously hate them because they think they're all definitely unbalanced and all kinds of things. So if you can explain why, in gentle words, please do let me know. Are you going to use those 3D objectives? Like, I need to know whether I should bother building and painting them. Like, are you going to use those 3D objectives? I don't know. What's your take on the new rumours that I've dug up from Mr. Valrak? Let me know if you find them believable. Honestly, I think that they're probably dead on, right? I think they're probably bob on. He said them with the sort of, like, I know he says a lot of stuff like Vespid and they didn't turn up, and then and Kill Team Space Hulk, they didn't turn up, but like, he sort of has a way of he doesn't outright say it, but he sort of has a way of stating things when he's more confident in them. And this just felt like one of those predictions that he was more confident in. He doesn't ever just spell things out for you plainly, and then he gets irritated on a stream when you say, well, where's this? And he goes, oh, no, I never said that was coming. I said that was maybe coming. But from what I can tell, right, he's more confident about the Brew Brothers versus the Hearthkin. So that's what I'm expecting now. This weekend is, well, Friday is going to be LVO, so I'll be up at 5 AM on Friday watching that. I'll do a live blog in the Discord and then produce a video shortly after, hopefully. Except I will have to go to work on Friday, so maybe it won't chronicle a weekend. Either way, that will be the weekend video, will be the LVO reaction, which has unfortunately bumped the Warhammer World Tournament review till next week, next Thursday. If nothing else comes out for Kill Team, that'll be the video in a week's time, the Warhammer World Tournament review. But, where there's news, there's an easy video for me to make that will get an undeniable number of clicks. That's how the saying goes, right? Okay, thanks everybody. Thanks for listening. Please do like, subscribe, become a member, give me your firstborn children, all the things that you do for people on YouTube. Do those. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye. 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 Bye.